podcast. I know y'all have not seen my pretty little face in a while doing a podcast about Afro situation. Looking crazy right now. Actually, give me 1 second. I'm gonna keep talking, but like, give me 1 second visually. Um, as you can see by the title, we are reviewing the Blackening. It is a movie that came out today. I'm recording this on the day it came out, right after seeing it. So I'm trying to keep it fresh in my mind. There was so much that happened in the movie, and it was like, y'all, that movie was. I'll tell you right now, it was amazing. Like, I can turn back here. It was phenomenal. I normally don't like. Oh, look at that! Look at that! That color change. Anyway, I normally do not like horror comedies. I'm very specific about the comedies in general. I'm not really a big comedy fan. I don't really laugh when a comedy is the movie of choice. I kind of act like it doesn't exist. Unless it's like certain ones, I'll at least watch them. I might not laugh about watching. But this movie had me dying, and I don't laugh at horror comedy. This one had me like rolling, and I learned no, not two, one major lesson watching this movie in theaters today, and that was you can't take black people no fucking where. Oh my god! So one, there was already like the theater was already partially empty because there wasn't a lot of people there today. People probably because people aren't going to movies like that, but it is what it is. So that was good for me because it was quiet enough technically. Um, but its quietness made it more obvious when it was like us acting upon for in the theater. Like we as a people, including myself, were acting crazy in there. In the theater, we were just laughing and we were hollering. I wasn't hollering, I was laughing. But there was people behind me that supposed to look like me. Um, that were making commentary, but the commentary made it funnier. Like I was laughing at their commentary, so the commentary wasn't bad. It was funny, and so that made everything even funnier than what it already was. So then, of course, I made commentary, but my commentary was like low. I hope I feel like they heard my commentary because there were moments just like this bitch. It was like wild. So I'm gonna give you the best synopsis. So spoilers ahead. Like if you plan on watching it, wait, cut the don't watch this. Spoilers. So the movie, I missed the first maybe 5 minutes because I got there like, but I can surmise what the opening of the movie was. So the opening of the movie. So the two characters, Sean and Morgan, that a couple of this friend group. They get to the cabin or get to the house in the woods. Already fucking up. They get to the house in the woods and they and so it's already like look shit happening. So they get there, and so Sean is like, "Hey, come look at this room I found." And so he goes into the room. He goes to show Morgan the room. He's like, "Hey, I could have sworn I left that door open." And Morgan's like, "Oh, let me go get my sage. We ain't on that right now." And that was like funny as it was because I was like, "Yeah, that's me." Or I'm just gonna leave because if you think you left the door open and it's shut, all of a sudden closed, I don't want to be here. I don't gotta be here. We don't even need to be here. We can go ahead and skedaddle. What you mean? So, so they go look in the room. They find the game, and so I'm not gonna tell you every. Well, you know what happens because you've seen the trailer. So trailer, like Sean. Just to say, Sean beats God a little early, and Morgan gets taken by the weird man that's doing all this crap. So you fast forward, all the other friends join. I forgot all the characters, but it's the opening. So the next scene you see is, I want to say his name was Dwayne, Lisa, and something was, I think it was like Addison or something. Now, it's a guy, a girl, and two girls. So the movie opens up with like it goes straight into a lot of things that resonate with black people as viewers and as individuals, like with the Lisa and I want to say again, I think her name's Anderson. I can't remember. I'm telling y'all this fresh off my mind. Like I just got back from watching this movie, so of course there's gonna be moments where I'm like, "Ooh, let me go look a little stuff up to make sure I'm not saying nothing to nobody." But so Lisa and Addison are like sharing looks because they say a lot. They say something to the. Oh, it is Allison. Okay, see, Dwayne. They say something to Dwayne about all the people who's gonna be there, and Dwayne's like, the number y'all say and the number it should be are not adding up because who else is coming? He's like, who all gonna be there? Because we're driving there, and I want to know who all gonna be there before I actually get there. And they like hiding the fact that Lisa's ex is gonna be there. So they give each other the look, but they're having a because when we give each other the look, we having a full blown conversation. We're understanding something about to each other. So they give each other this look, and so they're giving each other this look, right? And so they give each other the look, and they're like had a full blown conversation. And Dwayne's like, I see, I'll give each other the looks. Who gonna be there? Who gonna be there? And they're like, no one, bestie, no one. So he's like, okay, sure, whatever. So he's like, oh, it's gonna be a good weekend. Like, we're gonna be partying. His ex gonna be there. And so they're like, look at each other again, like, well, about that. But they don't say that to him. He don't find out till later on that the ex is there. So they get to the house, and um, the other light skinned friend is King, and then the ex is there, and it's like, oh shit, some crap about to go down. So Lisa it takes Dwayne, and they talking or whatever. She's trying to tell him it's gonna be all right. First of all, I laughed my ass off because she told him to close his eyes. She said, okay. She said, open your mouth, okay. And she throws a molly in his mouth. She just throws it in his mouth like, up. And he's like, ooh, what that? A molly. He's like, ooh, my favorite. Like, what the fuck? I'm in the theater like these niggas for real. So I'm already tripping about that. So then, oh lordy, y'all, I'm trying to remember as much as I do this review. So then they go in the house. It cuts to a different scene. We see the drunk friend, the drunkard friend as they call her, run into another dude with glasses. The dude with glasses is important. So they run to him. She runs to him. They get together. They go to the house. So to make this quick and not tell you every little thing that happens, they get to the house. Of course, the game at some point the game starts. Um, and I learned very quickly watching this movie. I'll try to make stuff quick, but I know I can't. So I learned very quickly watching this movie that if I was in this situation, I would die because they started asking questions to the characters about like things that black people should know, and I don't know the answers to those questions. Like I don't know them. Like the question, like one of the questions, the first question was like if so- asking some, I think it was like Sojourner Truth or something. I want to say that was her name, and I've heard the name before, but the question was asking who she was, and I don't know that answer until I watched this movie. And I want to say that in the movie it was A, and I think A was an activist of some kind. Yeah, I didn't know that. And you couldn't have asked me that and thought I was going to know the answer to that question. Yeah, I'd be dead. If either I'd be dead or the person I was trying to say would be dead because I don't know the answer to that question. Look at me answer these questions. Oh my Wi-Fi tried to cut out on me, y'all. So then it's just a series of questions. So they answer the questions, and then it gets to the question asking them about how many black people are on Friends, and they're answering yada yada. He's like, wrong. The answer is I don't watch Friends. I prefer living single, which was the blackest answer I could think of. I can possibly think for that question because that is true. I actually have never sat and watched. Yeah, I can't help it. That's a habit of mine. The legal song every couple seconds. Um, I've never actually sat and watched an episode of Friends, but I have watched plenty of Living Single. So it's like, the stereotype that they got accurate. And then, ooh, it was some other stuff that happened. It was like that made me laugh. King, one of the light skinned characters. It was like because it was three light skin, three dark skin, which I thought was like I feel like they did that on purpose. But um, light skin character King, uh, technically it was four of 13 characters because of the other person, but we'll get to him later. But that's why he was making some Kool Aid, so he was dumping sugar and vodka in there at the same time. And I'm like, this now the vodka, that's accurate. The vodka, the sugar I'm like, first off, I know for a fact every black person can agree with that Kool Aid ain't good if I can't taste the diabetes. If I can't taste the diabetes in that Kool Aid, you didn't make it right. I need it needs to have the sugar deep in it. First off, if you don't know that statement, then I feel sad for your childhood because everybody know that Kool Aid ain't good if I can't taste the. I need to be able to taste the sugar. Don't make it syrup. You ain't gotta make it no syrup, but you gotta taste that you add a lot of sugar to that.
Like you did last time with lemonade.
Okay, first off, fuck you. I didn't ask y'all that. That's my point. So that has scenes like that, and then there was one scene where, like, I cannot give you every last scene, of course, because of course it's fresh in my mind. But it's like also, it was just I was really just in the moment watching the movie. But it's a lot. But the movie itself has a lot of funny scenes. As far as reviewing the movie itself as a whole, it was a really good movie. I don't want to tell you everything that happened, but there's a lot of points in the movie where like um that made sense. So in the movie, there's a scene where the kill I'm gonna say a killer sees one of the protagonists and he like backs off. So you don't know in that moment why, but when you like see the rest of the movie, you're like, oh. So I was like driving and that like it hit me like, oh, that's why he backed off, and it was like, dang, that's some fuck shit. Like that shit was in the works for a minute. Um, and then a lot of the movie itself, like I don't know if they meant for it to be funny, but like it was like a lot of what made it funny for me is like they took a lot of black stereotypes as like things that people like say, oh yeah, this is a black thing, or this is a black thing, or this is something black people do a lot, and like they made fun of it, but also pointing out that yes, it's low key true. Like we do this because as a black person, I resonated with the fact that dang, I can't say half that shit was like there's some shit that I'm like I've seen either myself do or my fellow sisters and brothers of color do, and that's something that made it like even funnier for me. There are moments where I was like, this movie's realistically unrealistic, and here's why I say that: it was realistic because it had a lot of stereotypes. That okay, stereotypes are the truth. There's true stereotypes, right? But it's unrealistic because I had moments where I'm like, oop, you full of shit. So one of the things was so there's a character in the movie who's white, half she's black, biracial, but she is mostly is black. The gag for her a lot of times was okay, so this is your white side talking. I need her to go away, bring that black side out because we need to leave. We need to like leave and live. And you doing stuff that your white side would be doing, and we don't need the white side right now. We need the black side. Come on, now complain. And that was like, bro. And you know that was, and maybe that wasn't meant to be what it was for me in my mind, but it was that gag, I guess you could say, that portion for her character was hilariously phenomenal, and the actress did really well doing it. But it was really funny to me. But overall, and again, there's a lot of things I'm not mentioning about this movie. I might do another review just after watching it again, and maybe go to more details if you want like a really detailed review. But to sum the movie up, it was hilarious while also suspenseful and scary. It had a lot of good moments that I just think um a lot of horror movies, horror comedies especially, are just missing. The only horror comedies I think I have ever liked were the some of the older scary movies like with by the Wayne Bros. And this kind of reminded me of that, but also being its own thing. Like, of course, it was a parodies, but like this, like it almost felt like a parody of black people. And I know that's like a weird way to say it, but it felt like they were parodying black folk while actually being black folk. And I just thought it was like it was again, it was hilarious, it was scary. As someone who loves horror and like and works to create horror movies, I really appreciated it. As someone who does film and works in editing, the editing was phenomenal. The visuals were great. The twist at the end, you expectedly don't expect it. Like if you really watch a lot of movies, you kind of know where it's going, But I'll say that the only reason I was able to guess the ending was because a moment happened uh, where the true antagonist gets hurt, but you know it's not fatally hurt, and I'm like, yeah, you're behind this. That explains so much, and the trailer does not do it justice for some of the stuff that they say in this movie. It was truly some of the funniest things I have ever heard someone say. And I just, yeah. Okay, I'm about to ramble, and this probably was not the best review, but that is my true opinion that I think this movie did really good, and that it was really one of the. It made me full like I was dying in that theater. So if I had to give a rank out of 10, I would say it did about 9.5. Of course, I don't give anything I give a 10 in real life. And this is my first time doing an actual movie review that I'm going to end up actually going live with. I was supposed to review the Scream movies, but I just kept forgetting to actually post those. But as my first review officially on my podcast of a horror movie that isn't old and me breaking it, I give it about 9.5 out of 10. It did really good, and again, it's an achievement to make me laugh when I don't laugh at movies at all. That's an achievement for me. So yeah. With that being said, thank y'all so much for watching, and I'm gonna let my music play me out. Bye.